Hi, folks. My name is John HELIOS, and I am the chief editor for Star Nation's News. And I wanted to talk today about a quantum lifestyle. And now everybody's heard the word quantum before, and they usually associate it with the word quantum physics or quantum mechanics or some kind of obscure science. And if you actually look up the definition of quantum, the definition that's available is not very good. It's not very helpful. And it sounds like it's really muddled up by the academic community. And but I wanted to talk about something it's related, but it's actually different. It's kind of definable in a way, and it has to do with a quantum lifestyle. And this quantum lifestyle is directly associated with what's going on with the Earth right now and the various people who live on Earth right now. As you know from many of the articles that are linked on the website, that there are a lot of changes going on with the Earth and her population. And so the way this affects people is that it will be affecting them virtually in every possible way. It involves their health, it involves their thinking, it involves their habits, it involves their awareness, everything. And everything is going to be changing, whether somebody is aware of it or not. Everything is changing, literally everything. So what I wanted to do was discuss the kind of lifestyle that we are venturing into now. Previously, under what I call the old paradigm, people were living in a very limited kind of way. There were lots of limitations that were imposed upon people under kind of a control system that limited people very much. And that is changing now. And everything's expanding literally in many senses, in literally every sense. And the characteristic that's, if you want to define it with a certain word, probably the best word to find would be quantum. And quantum, if you look up the word quantum among like the awareness committee or community, among people who are aware within the world, you will find the word quantum coming up more and more. It's coming up in the financial system. For example, the quantum financial system is being spoken of and written about quite a bit on the internet now. And there are different versions of some kind of quantum computing systems that are being explored by leading edge companies, technology companies such as Google, Yahoo, Intel, Honeywell. But I'm going to be, this is kind of a reflection of what I'm going to be talking about, and it is related indeed. But the quantum reality that is coming upon people's lifestyle now is really big. And I kind of wanted to talk about a few characteristics of this quantum lifestyle, this new quantum lifestyle. First of all, I wanted to give it a little bit of context in our past. There was a scientist, a Nobel laureate in physics, who said a few things about quantum. He said that I think I can safely say that nobody understands quantum mechanics. That's one thing he said several decades ago. He also said, if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics. And he's absolutely right, because quantum mechanics literally connects and includes everything. And when I say everything, I'm not just talking the things that we can think of, but everything. that goes beyond our normal perception, that everything is interconnected in some fashion. Now, people may be prone or tempted to think that this is some kind of random connection thing that has no structure and doesn't make any sense. Initially, yes, it may seem that way, but actually it's a kind of interconnectivity of all things on a really super expanded scale, on a much larger scale. You might say literally a universal scale. And I know this is kind of mind-blowing for some people, and some people will think this is absolutely ridiculous, but you have to stop and think. I told you that this quantum lifestyle, this quantum aspect that we are entering into right now on this planet at this time affects literally everything. Thinking, feelings, intuition, our perception of what we thought were limited things now becoming unlimited, things that were separate now becoming connected somehow. This is what quantum involves. And I just wanted to talk about a couple of the characteristics that you will see about quantum. There was one characteristic that I've noticed about quantum is that it is non-linear. There is talk among the awareness community, the people who discuss philosophy and human awareness, that they say that the timeline or our perception of time or the procession of the thoughts that we have is linear. Formerly, it was linear, it was logical, it was structured, but it was very narrow and therefore very limited. However, with this quantum emergence of the quantum style of thinking, there is seemingly a nonlinear and seemingly irrational or unstructured connectivity of everything. In this case, thinking. There seems to be, there are people out there who are starting to experience a seemingly random or disparate thoughts that have no relationship to each other. But actually, if you look at it from a quantum perspective, from a completely new way of perceiving things, you will see that it is consistent and it does have kind of a structure on a very large scale. And it's difficult for me to explain it from typical rational terms using an old-fashioned language such as the English language. One of the forms of communication that people will be experiencing that involves quantum perception and the quantum realm is telepathy. And there has been quite some discussion these last several years, especially among the spiritual and philosophical leaders of the world community, that telepathy will be emerging as one of the experiences and skills that people will be undergoing, people will be seeing as a part of this new quantum realm lifestyle. So, for example, this has been hinted at in the mainstream in some places. For example, the musician artist by the name of PRINCE did come out with a song that basically describes telepathy, and I can put a link to that song in the description below. Anyway, for myself personally, throughout my life, at certain instances, there have been some like quantum occurrences, things that come up that don't seem to make any sense at all. But it isn't until much later when you start to be able to put the pieces together, the pieces of this big puzzle of the mystery of life. It's when you start to put the pieces together of information that you received in random sequences, that they are pieces that are relevant, that they do have a relationship to each other, and they do start to make sense, and they do start to assemble. These puzzle pieces do start to assemble a kind of an overall picture of whatever it is that you're looking at. Could be your life, it could be the meaning of your life or what you're doing. It could be anything. But the thing is that it's relevant. And that is the major word that you need to remember, is that there is relevance to all of this. And one of the, I guess you'd call spiritual leaders in the awareness community is a person that, that identifies as the name Kryon, Kryon. And this is a kind of a spiritual entity that is channeled through a human person by the name of Lee Carroll. And Kryon has explained in one of his speeches that there will be an emergence of quantum science coming into the world community, not just the awareness community. Maybe it will emerge there at first in the awareness community, but eventually this quantum concept is going to be arriving in all aspects of life in some capacity. And so usually people associate the word quantum with quantum physics, quantum mechanics. It's not going to be it's not going to be just limited to that, because as I've said before, quantum, one of the characteristics of quantum is the interconnectivity of literally everything. Anyway, Kryon had given an example that in quantum mathematics coming up, that there will be a concept of relevant values. He calls them relevant values, where, for example, the number 4 is identified not by the exact quantity that it represents, but the number 4 is defined by its relation to other numbers. For example, the number 4 is the whole number value that is greater than 3 or less than 5. So in other words, the number 4 isn't even mentioned in those definitions. The number, it's the next whole number value that's above the number 3. That doesn't say anything about 4. And it's the next whole value number that's below 5. It doesn't say the number 4 again. It's a relevant value. So the reason why I bring up this example is because there's going to be, when you experience a quantum shift in your lifestyle, there's going to be an emergence of seemingly random, unrelated things coming up in your life. And at first you might be intimidated by it or kind of confused by it, but this is nothing to be worried about. The reason why I say this is that everybody is going to be affected by their own version of a quantum lifestyle. I'm not saying that everybody's going to have the same experience, because the experience that people have in their life is completely unto themselves. It's an individual experience that nobody else is going to be having. But for lack of a better definition or lack of a better word, there is going to be the emergence of some of these quantum characteristics in this quantum lifestyle. So just to kind of review here what I've said, is some of the characteristics is that your lifestyle or your thought patterns may seem to become less linear and more random. That the things that show up, the information and the way you perceive things may seem a sequence of events that are seemingly random or irrelevant to each other. And this may cause some people to kind of freak out. And things will seem unstructured. But actually, as time goes on, as people get used to this new kind of lifestyle, they will see that there is a kind of a structure and an interconnectivity of everything. And like I said, it's going to be manifesting in several different ways. Telepathy being one, thought patterns being extremely different in another. Technology is going to be affected by it also. We'll see how that shakes out later on as time goes on. So I just wanted to give you this video as a heads up as to this new lifestyle. For myself personally, just on a personal note, I've experienced a huge quantum shift in my life about close to 2 months ago now. And I gotta tell you, I considered myself a spiritual or an aware person, and I've done everything I can to prepare for any change in my life. I've done a lot of personal inner work and inner cleaning to clear out the garbage that may get in the way of my being able to proceed forward. And I've got to say that I did have a quantum shift in my lifestyle recently, and wow, it was a challenge. For me, that's my experience. For you, when the time comes for you, might not be so difficult. For me, it was kind of difficult. But as I look back on it, I have to laugh because I'm kind of getting used to this. I'm relaxing into it. Nothing is the same, and everything is changing almost continuously on a continuous basis. So I would say that one of the key factors in adopting this new lifestyle would be have an open mind all the time and continuously be flexible, and take it from there. It's a moment by moment thing. It becomes very zen in a way in that respect. So that's my advice. That's my recommendation. It's not going to be the only one that people are going to find that's useful or helpful, but that's where I'm coming from in this special, perspective that I have experienced. So I could talk about this more later, and I'm sure I will. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you, give you a heads up and let you know what's going on with this big evolutionary shift. Okay, thank you very much. By the way, just as a timestamp, today is May 17, 2021. So enjoy your life and enjoy your new quantum lifestyle when that time does emerge. Thank you.